Oh, yeah. Let's dig in, baby. It is after Thanksgiving. This is a Black Friday, Football Friday edition. A lot of stuff to talk about today, guys. I hope you're having a good week, holiday time. How did your Thanksgiving go? Did you overdo it? Did you just say, the hell with it? You ate whatever you wanted to eat? You get it done? I made sure I hit all the essentials: turkey, mashed potatoes, rolls, ham. I made a chocolate silk pie that was crushed by everybody. I have a niece that I'm going to see if I can get her to sponsor my show, because I have a niece that makes cookies that are hands down the best cookies I've ever had in my life. Chocolate chip cookie. Well, she made a Christmas one that had crumbled up Andes mints in it. Oh, and I love Andes mint. That's why I like thin mint, stuff like that. Really love it. But again, so good. Like, she's selling them at the school, $2 a cookie. So much so, she's got stickers, she's got logos, she's got merch, and she's selling cookies in school. I am here for it. I'm trying to see if I can get her to start taking like orders. Then I'm gonna put it out here, and you guys need to order some, because I promise you, they are the best chocolate chip cookies I have ever had. The brown sugar notes, a little bit of the salt bite, the chocolate, they're amazing. Madeline, thank you so much for bringing it. Amazing, good stuff. But we had a good time. Had a little whiskey, sat around, talked with family, and had a really good time. Watched some football, like everybody. Hopefully, you enjoyed the football that was going on yesterday. Today there was a Black Friday game, and geez, it was ugly. I mean, the Chefs and the Raiders, right? The Chiefs and the Raiders played. Kansas City holds on again. They beat the Raiders 19-17 with Aiden O'Connell going 23 of 35, 340 yards, 2 tutties and an interception, or no interception, but they had a costly fumble at the end. Costly fumble. Patrick Mahomes, 26 of 46, not very good as far as passing. QBR 45.7, 306 yards, 1 touchdown. And the Chiefs keep finding a way to win. Chiefs now 11-1. The Raiders 2-10. How bad are the Chicago Bears, guys? Whew. And I saw some people, they were talking about Caleb and who's to blame. Obviously, you saw that Eberflus got fired. Awareness when you're the quarterback, right? When you're the quarterback, you got to have that situational awareness, okay? And he didn't have it. So we're like, well, the coach needed to make the call. No, Caleb, you're a quarterback in the NFL. You need to be able to make those decisions. But Detroit, they hold on. They get a victory. I think they said it was like the first Thanksgiving Day victory for the Lions in like 14 years. Jared Goff, 221 yards, 2 tutties. Jahmyr Gibbs, my kid loves Jahmyr Gibbs. Running around in his Jahmyr Gibbs jersey right now. He's loving how well the Lions are playing. But the Lions get out of it with a victory. They're 11-1 now, and I think their only loss in the year came to Baker Mayfield and Tampa Bay Buccaneers early in the season. So it'd be interesting. My kid goes, well, if we played Baker now, I like Baker, but I think we beat him. And I'm like, you know what, buddy, you're probably right. You probably do beat him. But the Lions are really, really good. I mean, that's a really good football team. I still like it because I'm a Commanders fan. We're still in the playoff picture. We got the Titans this week. Then we have a bye week, and then we play the Saints, which I'm trying to secure some tickets to get down to New Orleans and check that game out. I think it'll be a lot of fun. But, yeah, Detroit beats the Bears 23-20. The Cowboys, how about the Cowboys now? They're on a little mini winning streak. They're 5-7, actually won a game at home. Cooper Rush, 195 yards, a touchdown. Drew Lock, infamous for Tom Herman when he was at Missouri, doing his little, and Tom Herman making fun of him. Lost a lot of respect for Tom Herman about that. You're the coach. Players want to do it fine, but the coach, Green Bay all over Miami, and Green Bay sitting there at 9-3, having a really good year. It's just unfortunate for them. They're in the same division as the Detroit Lions, who are just housing everybody and playing so good right now. But as far as what's on the docket for the rest of the week in the NFL, then we get into college football. You got Chargers at Falcons, Steelers, Bengals, Cardinals, Vikings, Colts, Pats, Seahawks, Jets. I mentioned the Titans at the Commanders, Texans, Jaguars, Rams, Saints, Bucks, Panthers, Eagles, Ravens. That's going to be a really intriguing game because even though I'm a Washington fan, I can respect what Philadelphia is doing. And Saquon Barkley, I mean, right now, I think he's got my vote for the lead as far as MVP of the league. But that's a great game. Eagles at the Ravens. You got Barkley. You got King Henry, St. Flowers, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts. I mean, there's so many names in this game. That's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to that. 49ers, Bills, Brock Purdy may not play because of an injured shoulder Monday night. Browns and the Broncos. How about Bo Nix, guys? How about what Bo Nix is doing? They didn't want him at Auburn. All he's doing right now, 2,548 yards, 16 TDs, 6 interceptions. He's got the Broncos 7-5. No, nobody saw that coming. Not with him at the quarterback, but you look at the AFC West right now, and there's some really good quarterbacks, except the Raiders, which I don't know what the Raiders. They're talking about maybe getting Shador, but Mahomes, he's at Kansas City. You got Bo Nix with the Denver Broncos, Justin Herbert with the Chargers. So I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks in that league. Now we're going to get on to what we all love, college football. Tis the season. It's rivalry week, right? Rivalry week. It's very odd for me. Now, coming up here at the bottom of the hour, Cody Slavinsky from the Golden Boot Podcast is going to join. He is an LSU guy. I am an Oklahoma guy. Chris Vandy. Right now, absolutely. Absolutely. I think he's been more consistent than Jaden. Jaden's kind of hit that rookie wall, I think. But, yeah, I agree 100%, Chris. I think Bo Nix has played really well. Vade, I got to ask you, how confident are you tomorrow? It's in Nashville. You could really upset the apple cart for Tennessee. That game's going to again, it's such a weird football season to where if you'd have told me at the beginning of the year, Tennessee Vanderbilt was going to be a majorly important game. And it's not trying to be disrespectful to Vanderbilt. It's what you've known, right? It's what you've known. But the way that Clark Lee, Diego Pavia, everybody's come in this whole new image for Vanderbilt. Nothing would make them happier. Look, and I think Chris said, if they win, the goalposts are hitting the river again. And I don't blame you. Live it up. Have a good time. Hit the main streets, supremely confident. I like it. And you know what? You have every right to be. It's not like, if you're a UAB fan, we can go beat Alabama. You've got every reason to believe it. And that's why this year has been so amazing with Vanderbilt, with how bad Oklahoma was. I mean, you think it'd be that bad? And what they did last week against Alabama. Here's what I saw a funny stat. One of my buddies texted me. This is, if you're an Oklahoma State fan, I'll apologize right now. But as bad as Oklahoma played this year for a good stretch, they have more Big 12 wins than Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State ended over as they got just mollywopped by Colorado today. Absolutely destroyed. Mike Gundy and man, it's bad. And but they're not going to get rid of him. I don't think. Shedeur Sanders, 34-41, 438 yards, 5 tutties. Everyone talking about Travis Hunter, but Wester showed out. 11 catches, 175 yards, 2 tutties. But I mean, Gundy. I mean, you would have thought, and even me, being an Oklahoma person, looking at the Big 12 this year and trying to look at it and give a fair opinion of the Big 12. Oklahoma State was in that mix for me at the beginning of the year. You have Ollie Gordon coming back, who everyone was expecting Ollie Gordon to have the year that Ashton Jeanty had coming into the year. Bowman back at quarterback, and he's in his 7th year of college. He's been to Texas Tech. He's been to Michigan. You thought, yeah, Presley, who's setting records at Oklahoma State for receiving. And you think about some of the names that have played there, Justin Blackman, guys like that. I mean, he's setting records for Oklahoma State. And they go over in the Big 12. They got beat 52-0 today. Their last win was against Tulsa. Ugh. Tulsa. They beat Tulsa. That's when Oklahoma State was ranked. How'd they end up getting that game against Arkansas? I don't know. I don't know how they got that game against Arkansas. But it was not good. Talk about some of the scores that I want to get into. Ashton Jeanty and Travis Hunter. Not to mention Thursday night, Tulane dealt a death blow from Memphis. Everyone thought Memphis was going to be a team that had a shot at the playoffs, but instead it's Memphis that knocks off Tulane and really kind of opens it up. Again, who's the happiest about Tulane losing? Freaking Indiana. Indiana's happy, because now you can sit there and the Hoosiers can still be in. They can still be in. But yeah, Memphis 34-24 knocks off Tulane. Darian Minta 21-33, 317. Still some stuff circulating about Joe Craddock, the offensive coordinator, and possible interest from the University of Oklahoma for him to be the offensive coordinator. Would he bring a Darian Minta? Then that leads into, is Jackson Arnold gone? Is Michael Hawkins gone? Who's leaving? Oklahoma State and Arizona, biggest disappointments in all of that. Yeah, I agree, because even as an Oklahoma guy, you heard me talk, Chris. I said 7-5, 8-4 tops. So, I'm right there. If they find a way to win against LSU tomorrow night, which is going to be a very tough task, and we'll have Cody coming on here at the bottom of the hour to talk about it, it's what I expected. What was disappointing is how bad the offense was. But Oklahoma State and Arizona, everybody thought Oklahoma State and Arizona were going to be battling it out for the Big 12 championship. Hands down. You're absolutely right that those were the people that everybody thought was going to be playing for. Instead, you get Colorado, Arizona State. Here's what's crazy about Iowa. Iowa's 9-2. They played Baylor. Did you know Iowa State has never won 10 games in a season? In the history of their football careers, Iowa State Cyclones have never had a 10-win season. Oh, that's bad. Kansas State, they were one that everyone thought was going to be up there. Kansas, I know Kansas has run off some really good games lately, 3 in a row that they beat top 25 teams. So, kudos to them. But, you look at it, Utah, Oklahoma State, Arizona, Kansas. Those were all the 4 consensus that people have for the Big 12. And it again, it's why this year has been so crazy. Arizona State, now for Colorado, they've got to have BYU lose at least. And they hope Baylor beats Iowa State, and Arizona State, they got to lose their matchup against Arizona, which probably won't happen. Arizona State's playing really good. Scatterbo running the rock. It's great. But Vandy, Chris, I agree with you. Oklahoma State and Arizona, 2 of the biggest disappointments in all of college football. Noah Fafita still put up a lot of yards with T-Mac, but still, you thought they were going to be a lot better than what they were, and just it didn't pan out that way. How about Georgia Tech right now? Carson Beck, 3 of 7 for 37 yards. Georgia Tech, the Ramblin' Wreck in the lead right now, 3-0 in the end of the first quarter against the Georgia Bulldogs. That would put, and you know what? I'm here for all the chaos. Like let the chaos ensue. Let Georgia lose. Let Vandy beat Tennessee. South Carolina beat Clemson. I would love to see USC beat Notre Dame. I can't believe I'm saying those words. Auburn, not. I still don't think Bama's in, but Auburn beat Alabama. I want to see A&M to beat Texas. Iowa State plays Kansas State. I'm sorry, not Baylor. They play Kansas State. Farmageddon, I think is what they call it. But yeah, I want to see all the chaos this weekend. I do. Ole Miss, Mississippi State, the Egg Bowl. Man, it was ugly for a while. There for a while, Mississippi State had a lead until Bentley breaks off an 89-yard touchdown run for the Rebels. Ole Miss wins 26-14. They're sitting there at 9-3, and I think they're on the outs. I think they're on the outside. I don't think they get in. And for me, if I'm somebody who's stroking the checks for Ole Miss, if I'm somebody who's putting money into the NIL, maybe, and again, I'm not calling for someone's job, but this is a huge disappointment for Lane Kiffin in this year. Jackson Dart back. I know you lost Judkins, but you went out and got, a defensive line for hire, which led the NCAA in sacks. You did a good job there, but now you're still falling short. 9-3, 5-3 in the SEC, and you're probably out of it. You're probably not going to make it. But another team that's in there, how about the Boise State Broncos? I mean, people can say whatever they want. Oh, it's a group of 5. They played the number 1 team in the country as good as anybody this year. And if it wasn't for some special teams plays from Oregon, Boise State could have won that game. Ashton Jeanty, 226 yards, a touchdown, and really just he's great. He's great. It's hard for me when I'm talking about Travis Hunter and Ashton Jeanty. When you're talking about the Heisman, because the Heisman is for the best player in college football. It's not an MVP, because obviously I think Ashton Jeanty is more valuable to Boise State than Travis Hunter is to Colorado. Colorado has other guys. We talked about, Shador. They've got guys that have come in there playing better defense now. I think Ashton Jeanty is more of a MVP for Boise State, but the Heisman's not an MVP trophy. It's for the most outstanding football player. And it's going to be hard because Ashton Jeanty is close to breaking Barry Sanders' record. He's up. I know he's in the top 5 now all-time single season rushing. His 5th 200-yard game this year. His 5th. And everyone talks about, it's against the – nobody else has done it. There's been good running backs at Boise State. There's been good running backs at San Diego State. They didn't do it. And I hate that argument because it reminds me of back when Samaje Perine broke the record for Oklahoma the week after Melvin Gordon did it. Oh, they did it against Kansas. Okay, how many of those great Nebraska teams played Kansas? You didn't get it. So that's Ashton Jeanty is phenomenal. I don't know. The thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way about Travis Hunter was you're down by 3 scores to a sub-500 team and you're hitting Heisman post. For me, I'm one of those let the scoreboard do the talking kind of people, right? And if you're winning, cool, have at it. But you're getting beat by Kansas and you're hitting the pose. A little too worried about what's going on, that way. That away from it, and here's my question. Is Travis Hunter being hurt in the eye of voters, possibly because of Deion Sanders? Is that the reason why Travis is getting, a lot of people have him as the odds-on favorite. I think it's going to be very interesting. Milroe kind of worked his way back into it until last weekend when he just absolutely got put in shackles and looked terrible. Georgia Tech driving 1st and 10 at the Georgia 28. Come on, Haynes King. Georgia Tech, the rambling wreck. Terry, what's up, man? I'm doing good. My leg is healing good. I actually have skin on it now, so that makes me happy. It doesn't look like Freddy Krueger's face anymore, so feeling pretty good. But Terry, stay tuned. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, our man Cody Slavinsky coming on. We're going to talk about this Oklahoma LSU. I got some questions for him too. He's an LSU guy, and so I want to know, what is Cody's LSU athletic Mount Rushmore? Who do you put on there? I'll be very intrigued to hear who he says. I mean, I think two are clear cut. I think Pistol Pete and Shaq are clear cut. It's the other two. Where do you go? Paul Skeens, and do you go Tyrann Mathieu? Do you do Joe Burrow? Jayden Daniels. I'm going to ask an LSU person what his LSU Mount Rushmore is, and also talk about, Oklahoma's going down to Death Valley to play in one of the best venues in all of college football. I'm sad I won't be there, but a fantastic venue. Really looking forward to it. Tomorrow, Michigan, Ohio State, the game. I will tell you this. If Michigan wins this game, Ryan Day doesn't make it out of Columbus. And I don't know if there's any chance for them to. Michigan's sitting at 6-5. Ohio State really clicking. Will Howard played extremely well. I still don't think he's a good quarterback, but he's playing well in that system. Emeka Egbuka, Jeremiah Smith, really good receivers. Ohio State is favored by 19.5. See, this is what makes it hard because of this rivalry. You don't know what you're looking at, right? While Ohio State's favored by 19.5, they've shit the bed against Michigan the last couple of years. Now, Michigan doesn't have a quarterback that can complete a forward pass, so you leave that in. Tennessee, Vanderbilt, like I was talking with Vandy, you mentioned earlier, I want the chaos. I want to see Vanderbilt do it. And Vanderbilt fans, you have every right to be confident going into this game. I'm going to tell you the team that nobody wants to play right now is playing at 11 o'clock tomorrow as well in Clemson, South Carolina. That's going to be a hell of a football game. And the way South Carolina's playing right now, I take South Carolina in that game. Other games that really don't, move the needle for me, Illinois versus Northwestern, who cares? Good job for the Illini trying for a 9-win season. Maryland and Penn State, all we do is crab cakes and football. We didn't do football very well this year. Penn State, extremely overrated. I can't believe I'm saying I want to see Lincoln Riley, old mule shoe, beat Notre Dame. Miami, I'd love to see Syracuse beat them. Just, again, all the chaos. SMU, California, who'd have thought? Preston Stone, terrible year. SMU still has the driver's seat to the ACC championship. The Iron Bowl, weird shit happens in that game, right? And after what happened last weekend in Norman, Alabama, if I'm Auburn, I'm selling out to put pressure on Milroe, and I'm running Jarquez Hunter. Arizona State, Arizona, great matchup. Arizona State trying to make it to the Big 12 championship. Purdue, Indiana. I think that's for the old Oaken Bucket, one of those trophy games. Arkansas, Missouri, one of these manufactured rivals. I know they're trying to do it. Washington, Oregon. There's some other good games, but I'm going to bring my guy in. He's in the waiting room, and I'm going to get my guy in, Mr. Cody Slavinsky from the Golden Boot podcast. How are you, sir?
Man, I'm good. I'm stuffed, but I'm good.
How are you doing?
Man, it was good. A lot of good food. Went to the in-laws. They threw down as normal, and
Nice.
I have about probably 10 deviled eggs in me currently. We good.
See, that's the way to go. I mean, now I was telling at the beginning of the show, I've got a niece, and I love food. You know, I love food.
Yes.
So for me to give out praise like best I've ever had, I'm very careful when she makes the best chocolate chip cookies I've ever had.
I like chocolate chip cookies.
She made some holiday that had crumbled up Andy's mints in it.
What?
Dude, I'm telling you, look how she's a baller. She's already got a logo and a sticker. She's selling them for $2 a pop at Vestavia High School.
Oh,
and sells out.
I'm sure.
Sells out. They are like I was saying. You get the brown sugar note. You get the chocolate. Then you get like this little burst of sea salt. You know, the salty. That's it. Dude, I'm telling you, the perfect consistency. They're not too hard. They're not too soft. Good for dunking. It is literally the best chocolate chip cookie I've ever had. And I was talking with her. And of course, because of my dumbassery and my accident that I had, you know, when I get there, how's your leg? I'm like, it's still there. You want to cut the turkey? Hell no, I don't be going near the kitchen right now. But she was like, I made you a couple cookies just for you, and I'm like,
man,
that's smart. They're awesome. They're awesome. We're doing brunch with my family tomorrow.
Okay,
they're coming in, and I'm doing like an egg bake. It's just gonna be a lot of fun.
Nice.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. So we got to ask, what have you thought about the football action this holiday weekend? I mean, Tulane shoots themselves in the foot.
Big time. They had such a golden opportunity. Like, what are the odds if you get into the end of the season and you get to play a fellow 9-2 team when it matters the most at home, and then you screw it up like that? Which, hey, shout out to Memphis though. They played their hearts out, and I loved every second of it.
They played great, and so now there's a lot of reports out there. Still don't know the validity. I think Ben Arbuckle is the guy that Oklahoma's looking at to be the next offense coordinator, talking about bringing Mateer down, both those guys from Little Elm, Texas. What did Chris say? Cody's been fired from the Golden Boot. Actions final LSU. Vandy game were unacceptable.
Yeah.
To the victor go the spoils, right?
It's true. I made a King of the Losers graphic and had myself as the king, so.
Hey, to the victor go the spoils, man.
True.
But yeah, that was, I mean, and I know Tulane had played so well, but there's a lot of talk about Joe Craddock possibly coming to Oklahoma. There's a lot of interest there. Maybe bringing in a Darian Mensah, because we still don't know what's going to happen with Jackson Arnold. We don't know what's going to happen with Michael Hawkins Jr. Who's going to stay, who's not going to stay, depending on, And so if one of those two guys come, are they bringing their quarterback with them? Is Mateer coming with, Arbuckle? Is Mensah coming with Craddock? So I think those are the two leading candidates. But I've heard Craddock is really interested in the Florida State job.
I could see that. I really could. That being said, last weekend with Oklahoma, do you think that was the lowest amount of passes that Jackson Arnold's thrown since he was in Pee Wee football?
Here's what's crazy. So I like taking shots at Oklahoma State.
Oh, for sure. Do it.
Oklahoma in the SEC this year, not had a good year, still had more Big 12 wins than Oklahoma State.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious.
Oklahoma State went 0 for 9
that is true.
Big 12. We beat Houston, so we've got one Big 12 win. But again, disappointing for Oklahoma State. Ollie Gordon, everybody coming back. They were a team that even I expected Ollie Gordon to have the year Ashton Genty's having.
Same, 100%.
And I hate saying it because I'm not, but just going by and trying to be like, hey, doing your due diligence, talking ball. Ollie Gordon is a phenomenal running back. I think he's a little bit of a head case.
Yes.
And that shows. But it's just it's weird how bad they got. But yeah, for Jackson Arnold, what's crazy, 11 passes, 6 of them were shovel passes.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, so now our number 6 receiver, he got rolled up that night, so he's probably not going to play this weekend. So we're down our top 6 receivers.
Jeez.
But the thing I don't understand, looking at that game, great game plan from Oklahoma.
Yeah, for sure.
Xavier Robinson, I heard DeMarco Murray talk about him at running back, saying it's the most impressive in-season progression he's ever seen. Because when he got to Oklahoma, he wasn't ready. Because there's Oklahoma fans go, where was this kid all year? Because
Yeah.
he's a freshman. He's a true freshman.
Yeah.
And how about a freshman coming out party when your first game is against Alabama and you go for 18 carries, 107 yards, and 2 tuds?
I mean, that's just not even fair.
I mean, but you faced Alabama a lot as an LSU fan.
Mm-hmm.
When's the last time you saw Alabama get bullied like that through the whole game? Like, there was no flukiness. They just got beat.
I mean, honestly, I can't recall anything recently. I'd say the closest would be probably Saban's first year, because that season was just a bad season, a Washam season anyway, which obviously he was taking over a terrible program at the time. But, I mean, you'd have to go like early to mid-2000s for this. I mean,
now I'll say this. My wife laughs because we're watching that game and, again, freshman on freshman, Eli Bowen against Ryan Williams. I still think I talked to my father, who was a college official. They really jacked that call up.
I don't understand how they called
it. So knowing people that I know,
mm-hmm.
in college you have to have a receiver on each side of the ball.
Sure.
An eligible receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So the left tackle should have been a legal formation. Alabama should have got another snap.
Gotcha.
Should have got another snap. Still, hats off to Ryan Williams. Phenomenal play.
That was a great play.
Eli Bowen's right there. But even then, it's 24-10. And you've done nothing. Because, like, when that third interception happened, what's crazy is there was 6:57 left in the game when the third interception happened. Oklahoma didn't give the ball back. Mm-mm. And look, you've watched a ton of football. You like to talk about football. I'm glad he didn't, but why in the hell did Kane Womack not load the box to make Jackson Arnold have to beat? I mean, when you see that's what they're doing, why are you not adjusting?
I mean, that's what I'm wondering. I guess he has that Sunbelt mentality in his head still. I'm not sure because it made zero sense. I thought even at halftime, I was like, okay, they're going to make some adjustments, come back out, and then they'll pull away with it like usual. And if anything, Oklahoma made some tweaks and kept going. And then Alabama's like, oh, well, we're here. And that's about it.
So in the 3 losses, Jalen Milroe has run for 28 total yards.
Jesus.
He ran for 7 that night. And you go back and watch the first play of the game, it was like Christian Okoye and Steve Atwater. Danny Stutzman met Jalen Milroe head up in the hole. And I was like, oh, okay. And I told people, because of Brent Venables coming out saying Julia's wife, her cancer was back, and being senior night, I was like, that's the only hope I have. Now, in that, I looked at my wife when we got the first interception, when Eli Bowen gets interception and Xavier Robinson scores again. I said, look, I'll say this. I will trade a Washington Commanders win over Dallas to see Oklahoma win.
There you go.
And then sure enough, as I'm watching the game, my wife goes, you're the one who said it. And I'm like, I know. But what's even funnier is Austin Seibert, the kicker for Washington, was the kicker for the University of Oklahoma. So I took all the juju from Seibert and gave it to the college team, and they just it was crazy. Jaden still made some big plays in that game, but yeah, that was big. So this week, Oklahoma LSU tomorrow night, 6:00, Death Valley. It is. I know we messaged earlier. I'm disappointed that LSU is going white helmets, purple jerseys.
So they released a reason why.
Okay.
Seniors voted on it.
Yeah, the seniors did it. Cool for them.
Yeah, that's where my head went. I don't like it, but
if the seniors did it.
Yeah.
Have at it.
Exactly.
Now, still, it's a great helmet game. It's LSU. It's Oklahoma. I would love to see Oklahoma in the Reds on the road. Now, Oklahoma has not fared well against LSU in recent history.
No.
Go back to the Peach Bowl. Go back to Nick Saban winning the championship, knocking out Jason White and them. Not a lot of luck, but both coaches really coaching for, are they going to be on the hot seat next year or not? Because Brian Kelly, I know a lot of people are not happy, but what do you think about Brian Kelly and the possibility, and again, this is hypothetical. If Oklahoma wins, because it's a huge buyout, how hot is that seat next year?
I mean, I'll go ahead and tell you the seat's going to remain warm for a couple seasons. I just don't see LSU ponying up the money
It's a
to
lot
get
of
rid of
money.
him.
It's
It's
a
a
lot of money.
huge buyout, and I think they trust his recruiting ability, and I think they're going to give him a few seasons to really get it turned around. Because as much as I'm like Kelly does not fit the culture, Kelly may not be the right pick. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is the right fit, and maybe everybody needs to step back and really look at the big picture of how much of just a bad program LSU was getting to when he took over. I mean,
Sure.
it was nasty, and honestly, I can't fault Coach O on it because Coach O had to literally go from exactly. He went from the highest of highs of winning that championship to going instantly into COVID, and by going into COVID, loses Jamar Chase. And
that 19 season, that is like, we can hypothetical. I would love to see that 19 LSU team play like 0-1 Miami.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the matchups and how good Miami's defense was. But
yes,
man, but Miss Sarah, hello, Miss Sarah, how you doing? She said, love this collab. It's because we got LSU and Oklahoma tomorrow, and hey, kudos to her. Jackson Dart did not have a mental breakdown like he did last week. And they get a win in the Egg Bowl. I thought, sad for my guy. Mississippi State didn't win a game his first year coaching in the SEC. Not a fan of Kelly, but I agree like she was heading to the bottom. You're right. I mean, it was bad. And then, you cultivate a quarterback that nobody wanted. I mean, we all saw the video of Arizona State players dogging Jaden Daniels, calling him soft, saying, get this weak, blah, 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 out of there. And he goes on to Malik Neighbors, and you lose guys like that. And then you bring in Nussmeier. And here's what's crazy. What Nussmeier shows up?
It's true.
What Nussmeier shows up?
I like that these two teams are meeting, though, after they played their best games of the year the previous week. That's where I'm feeling good about this.
Sure.
Because Nussmeier went into the Vandy game with a different head on his shoulders, and his focus was to take care of the football. And he did a great job of it. I was very happy with how he played. That being said, I think that this Oklahoma defense will probably be the most physical defense that we have seen all year. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, don't get me wrong, we played some solid defenses this year.
Sure, absolutely.
You're
in the SEC, man.
Exactly. But I think the way that this Oklahoma defense is put together, and now that they seem to have found a common ground with the offense, I really think this makes them very dangerous. Their record does not reflect how talented that defense is.
It's an intriguing game because you could play the ifs and whats and candy butts and all that stuff. Jackson Arnold takes care of the ball against Missouri. Maybe we win that. Who knows? Played well against Ole Miss in the first half. Third quarter came out. Ole Miss kind of took over. Jackson Arnold started making mistakes there. But, what I saw, and I was proud of the offensive line for Oklahoma.
Yes.
Because there was games that I saw guys on a 4th and 1 standing straight up as an offensive lineman. I was like, you can't, like 4th and 1, you're firing off. You're trying to drive, Bullsworth driving guys backward. You can't do it. Their maturation throughout this year. Now, they also, here's what's crazy. There was, 6 players for the University of Oklahoma that have played every snap on their side of the ball. 3 of them were true freshmen.
Jeez.
Eli Bowen, he's a true freshman. Jaden Jackson, the guy from IMG that came with David Stone on the defensive line. Yep. Cole Kublik actually said probably the best interior defensive lineman he's seen at that age. And then now with those edges, R. Mason Thomas, Trace Ford, the Oklahoma State transfer. R. Mason Thomas is so good at that dip move. A great first step, and then he gets that shoulder dip, and he's in there because he's the one that kind of secured the Auburn game. Obviously what he did to Milroe in that game there. Danny Stutzman, Kip Lewis, You know, Kip has 2 pick sixes this year. One against Auburn,
Yep.
one against Alabama.
That's amazing.
What are your thoughts on Jalen Milroe's piss poor tackle attempt?
I was going to bring that up a few minutes ago. That looked like a quarterback trying to tackle somebody to me, like a typical, prototypical quarterback. That being said, someone as athletic as him should have let him up, say the
Yeah, I
least.
mean, because the first interception, he grabbed Bowen by the helmet and did like Don Zimmer, when Pedro threw Don down, And I was just like, no, I would have, especially where the game was, I probably would have set Milroe after that and gave him Ty Simpson.
Why not go to Ty Simpson? And that's been the biggest debate at my work is why is Ty Simpson not on the field? Everybody's asking that. And a lot of people say it's because of the money they have invested in the Milroe and all that through NIL. And there's just deals there, and there's just no reason to take him out. I'm sorry, but Ty Simpson fits Kalen DeBoer's offense better than Jalen.
Sure.
And it's nothing against Milroe.
Michael Penix, he could run when he had to.
Yes.
When he had to. He didn't predicate his whole offense on that. And that's what Milroe was trying to do. I mean, there was a couple times he tried to make a move, and there was just so many Sooners right there. He just fell down. He's like, nope.
Yeah.
I was just surprised.
Yeah, and I mean, so in this weekend too with Nussmeier, like a lot of people have a short leash with him, and they're like, maybe we need to let him sit and bring someone else, in to finish the game or something like that. Just because, I mean, a lot of people are losing faith in him. I will never lose faith in that kid, and I will always back him because of what he has done since he was in high school. When he committed to LSU, not only was he all in the second he said that he was going to LSU, he was one of the biggest recruiters I have ever seen in a recruiting class. And after seeing that, I was like, I will support this kid no matter what he does.
In the program, he wanted to be an LSU Tiger,
And he could have left. He could have left multiple times, and he didn't.
Absolutely. It's the matchup, and I know people talk about it all the time and say the line of scrimmage is where it's won. But this weekend, Oklahoma's defensive front seven against a Joe Moore quality award-winning offensive line, because LSU just doesn't give up sacks. Right.
Yeah, and we're healthy finally.
The tackle, if I have the number 1 pick, I'm taking him.
For sure. Yes.
What's his name? It's slipping my mind.
Oh, Will Campbell. Sorry.
Yeah.
My brain was not working for a second.
If I have the number 1 pick, I'm taking him number 1.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
Guy is amazing.
Yes.
So it's going to be really interesting to see that. Offensively, also, what LSU does well is not good for Oklahoma. LSU can pass. And Oklahoma, again, you've got some people that, haven't played a lot of college football, trying to get calls in. But Eli Bowen, as a freshman, went up against Ryan Williams, held him to 2 catches, 37 yards.
Yeah.
When I told people I didn't think we had somebody who can cover.
Yeah.
So offensively, I think Jackson Arnold is going to become very familiar with Whit Weeks. Yes. I think it'll be interesting because of what Harold Perkins said about Danny Stutzman.
Mm-hmm.
Which again, I don't have a problem with what Harold Perkins said.
Yeah, I think it was misinterpreted too.
I don't. But Danny Stutzman's going to use it as motivation. He's going to come in amped up, and I'm hoping. Do you have a pulse on what the crowd's going to be like? Because we all know what Death Valley at night can be like.
Yes.
It's the final game. Kind of a disappointing year for LSU because there was a lot of high hopes. But it's a night game, Death Valley. I know LSU fans love beating the hell out of Oklahoma.
Yes.
And so that's why I'm really intrigued on, because you and I have talked before about the environment that we've seen this year at LSU games. And if I'm a recruit and I'm taking a visit there, I'm committing that day. I mean, just everything. When you see, all the the WNBA players, you see Shaq, so many, with the crowd singing Next, singing Lil Boosie. I mean, you want to go.
For sure.
And so it's, one of the loudest places. I hope it's a great environment.
I think it will be. So last week against Vanderbilt, we sold out. I mean, it was still a packed stadium, and there was no empty seats there. So I think it keeps up. I think people want to see, especially after them just beating Alabama, I think the fans want to see this game. So
Sure.
I think it helps, and I think it's going to be a good environment. And honestly, Jackson Arnold had his interview preseason of he's excited to play in Death Valley at night. Like that's
Right.
something he wants to do, and I don't blame him at all.
Right. Right. Like I said, who knows what's going to happen with Jackson Arnold? But Vandy says a bunch of drunk Cajuns.
I mean, there's no lies detected there.
I mean, right. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they're going to sing "Call in Baton Rouge." They're going to have a good time, and like I said, I'm excited about it because I love history tradition. I've told you guys this. I love history. I love tradition. There's a lot of it in the SEC, and now we get to be a part of it. It's not
Exactly.
gone the way we wanted, but hey, kudos to the Oklahoma men's basketball team knocking off Louisville. Porter Moser and that group just won the battle for Atlantis.
Man,
SEC basketball is going to be nasty because right now, Auburn, Alabama are probably number 1, number 2 in the country.
I bet say what Auburn's done so far this year is one of the most impressive starts I've ever seen.
Auburn's scary good. Those drunks want to see Diego Pavia. Well, yeah, you want to see Diego Pavia. I mean, it's a guy who made Vanderbilt relevant.
It's true.
Now,
Very true.
I kind of told you early on, gave you time to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
You've covered all LSU sports. You are an LSU guy. If you had to pick your LSU athletic Mount Rushmore,
Sure.
who is on your Mount Rushmore?
All right. So before I give you my Mount Rushmore, I have some honorable mentions.
Okay.
So it'll kind of give you where I'm going with this.
Okay.
Because I did a football one and I have one that's all sports. So my all sports one, I'm going to say, first of all, I'm excluding 3 athletes, and that's Paul Skeens, Jaden Daniels, and Joe Burrow. I'm excluding them from it only because they did not start their careers at LSU.
Good point.
So I mean, I love what they did at LSU. Very thankful, but you didn't start there, so you're not on my Mount Rushmore. But thanks for your contributions. All right, so honorable mentions. Shaq. Love Shaq.
Whoa. Whoa.
Hey.
Whoa.
Got my reasons.
Okay.
So
all right.
One rule that I have for this is that one person per sport. That's I'm going to do it like that.
Okay.
Alex Bregman. Alex Bregman's an honorable mention. I love me some Alex Bregman. Yeah. Dylan Cruz is also on there. Tommy Casanova, Leonard Fournette, Albert Bell, and Simone Augustus. That's my honorable mentions because I love all of them. Albert Bell he was a head case at LSU. Very bad situation.
He was a head case with the White Sox, and I'm a huge White Sox fan.
He dealt with a lot of racism at LSU, I'm being honest, and it was terrible. Absolutely terrible. So I get it.
And coming through the Southern League and the minors, I mean, I get it.
Yeah, absolutely. And
my guy Harry says, poor Okie Light. Harry, did you know Oklahoma has more Big 12 wins than Oklahoma State? That should make you happy.
I love that talking point. That is so good.
It's great.
All right, so my baseball member for the Mount Rushmore will be Todd Walker, one of my all-time favorite athletes, one of the nicest guys.
That's solid choice.
And then I'm going to go Lolo Jones, not just because of what she did at LSU, which, I mean, I think she had, 3 or 4 natties, 11-time all-conference.
And LSU track is, I mean, it's big. I mean,
yes,
battling Arkansas and Texas and Florida, but Lolo was big.
Yeah, and I mean, what she did in the Olympics and everything was just, I mean, it was amazing. So I love me some Lolo, and she's still very much loved down there. So always Lolo. Sure. Then obviously Pistol Pete. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. Greatest basketball player that's ever come through LSU. Nobody will ever top what the man did. I think they said that, I know he averaged almost 45 points a game his final year there, and he would have, if they had a 3-point line, he would have averaged almost 60 a game. It's absurd.
I love going and watching. One of the beautiful things about YouTube is everybody's put up videos, and just go watch his ball handling skills, his passing. You're like, well done.
Yes, absolutely. And then my final member of it would be Patrick Peterson, all-time favorite player in LSU history. So love every single one of those athletes.
It's solid. I was thinking, was wondering where Tyrann Mathieu would be. Mm-hmm. Because of that Badger.
That was close. That was close for me. So I don't know if you remember this, but we actually on our show we broke the story of how Honey Badger became to be.
Yeah.
And hearing that story was awesome. I liked hearing it, and I like everything Matthew did, except for I'm going to fault him for his off the field issues.
Sure.
And that's the only reason I hold him back on that. Because
What's up,
while
Tony?
what he did at LSU was huge and very impactful and did a
Right.
lot for him, he was also his own worst enemy.
Sure.
Because, I mean, yes, I'm pro what he did. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But he was told not to do it. When you're a star athlete, you have to abide by the rules. I'm sorry.
Right.
And I respect them for holding him accountable, considering the player that he was. I mean, it is what it is. But
he was a difference maker.
Absolutely.
Fournette's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I've always loved it because, Florida, LSU, they have the dual goalpost, right? Like Florida State does, which I love that, and I love that Death Valley also have every 5 yards marked, so that's always interesting. Let's see what Vandy say. Curly Hallman.
I actually like the Curly Hallman one.
Dale Brown. God, Dale Brown's a good Pistol Pete. They are. Terry says, sorry, UCLA let you down, Cody.
They did. They really did. I had high hopes for that team.
You may argue that Holman doesn't belong, but as a young adult with no ties to that program, his name sticks out as being a major person with LSU despite his short tenure.
Yeah, I mean, what he did was kept him relevant. I mean, but my only problem was he had just a 500 coaching record in college. And for me, it just wasn't, I don't know.
Who's the other one? Tony says the H goalpost, one of 3 schools that have it. I know Florida State. I know LSU. Mm-hmm. Tony, who's the other one? I want to know. I know Tony's a big LSU guy.
I like Tony's comments about Hallman.
It's like LSU. Other big games tomorrow, man. I was talking a little bit about it. Michigan, Ohio State. I just don't think Michigan has the ponies to do it. But again,
they lost their their top cornerback, so they're screwed. There's no chance.
Tennessee, Vanderbilt. Does Vanderbilt have a chance?
Absolutely. Who am I to say they don't? Tennessee has historically this year has played not so great on the road.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think if I'm not mistaken, I think true road games this year, they're 1-2, I believe. And
one win, they beat us in Norman.
And arguably they played absolutely terrible in that game. So, I mean, realistically, I'd say if there is a chance for Vandy to get it done, this is it. And look at all they have like riding on this. I mean, Tennessee essentially is playing for $10 million in this game. Sure. And Vanderbilt gets a chance to go from little brother status to killing everything Tennessee has dreamed of since the 90s. So, I mean,
Tony, they are playing at the Shoe. That is at the Shoe, and of course, Fox Big Noon kickoff will be there. Now, the game that I'm really intrigued about, other than our game, South Carolina Clemson.
Yes,
because look, I know you're an LSU fan. The call that took Lenore Sellers' pick 6 off was a terrible call.
It was. I understand the call.
Because he extended his arms, and he didn't even go up to the head. I didn't like that.
I'm not going to argue it. I can't argue
the game of, if this happens. I know they started to falter when Lenoris went out, but the way they're playing right now, they're one of the teams I would not want to play.
Absolutely.
I would not want to play South Carolina right now. And also with South Carolina, and I don't think it's going to happen. But there is an outside chance, and people are talking about a 3-loss SEC team making the 12-team playoff. If you knock off Clemson and some of the other craziness happens, Tennessee loses. I mean, who knows? But it's Clemson's a really good football team. I'm happy for Shane Beamer. Loved him when he was at Oklahoma. I thought it was kind of funny this year how both Josh Heupel and Shane Beamer came back to Norman and got victories, and you could tell it meant a lot.
Absolutely.
Wazoo. There you go. Thanks, Tony. Okay. Appreciate that. Vandy, the biggest and pleasant surprise of 04. This has been a great football season. And I can't believe this is the last weekend of the regular season.
I know.
Now, I also said this, and I can't believe I'm saying it. I hope that brisket burning sissy back boy Lincoln Riley. I hope USC beats Notre Dame.
I think everybody's pulling for that.
I hope
Actually,
USC beats Notre Dame. Because then for me, that's a 2-loss Notre Dame team when you've lost to Northern Illinois and USC. You don't need to be in the playoffs. The other thing, Penn State, I don't think Penn State's a good football team.
I don't either.
And I think they're going to get housed in the playoffs. SMU really set up, who'd have thought Preston Stone gets benched and they're a better football team.
I know. That's what I was saying. Like, it's ridiculous. And the scary part is SMU's best running back is not even playing.
No.
Kamar Wheaton's hurt.
See, I don't know, Tony, because kind of like Brian Kelly, that buyout is redundant. I think it's like almost like Jimbo Fisher buyout for Lincoln.
I wouldn't be surprised if Lincoln took an NFL job after this season.
Oh, yeah. To be the Bears coach, you go be with Caleb.
Exactly.
Of course.
And it's funny that Caleb happens to be leading them out of the tunnel tomorrow and getting his jersey retired. So
is he?
He is.
I agree, Tony. I'm not a fan of Penn State. You know who they remind me of?
Who's that?
Iowa last year.
That's a very good comparison.
Because all these people were talking about how good Iowa was.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa played 3 ranked opponents.
Yeah.
And lost by a combined score of 94-0.
Oof.
The 1 ranked team Penn State has played, they lost and lost bad.
I mean, the best win that Penn State has is Illinois this year.
Right, yeah.
Which is not a bad win, by the way.
And if there's a defensive coach out there that figures out to shut down Tyler Warren, and again, kudos to that young man because he is a baller. But if you shut down Tyler Warren, they don't have explosiveness. They don't. And I'll be interested to see who will have to go to Happy Valley for a playoff game because I think there's a lot of people who just aren't going to care, that they're playing in Happy Valley. Georgia Tech beats Georgia. A&M beats Texas. Georgia beats Texas.
That would be impossible.
Vandy beats Tennessee. Yeah, because if A&M beats Texas,
whoever wins that's
the championship game.
Yeah.
Army wins the AAC. UNLV wins the Mountain West. Are we leaving a 12-1 Army team out for?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I am.
And here's the thing: Georgia Tech up 10-0.
Jesus.
Woo.
Jesus.
Woo.
Fighting Brent Keys. Let's go, baby.
Come on, Ramblin' Wreck. To be fair, the rest played a major part of Penn State lose. That was 100% a scoop and score.
Yeah.
I mean, we were just talking about LSU, South Carolina. I mean, I get it. The officiating's been horrible this year. And as a former official, it saddens me on how bad the officiating is.
It really has. It's been abnormally bad this year.
It's been really, really bad across the board. And I'm usually one, because I know, Walt Anderson, I used to have Ed Hockley come on my show when I was doing my show in Oklahoma. I love talking with Ed. Did I tell the story he told me about the funniest thing that ever happened to him? Real quick. So I had Ed Hockley on. I said, Ed, what's one of the craziest things that's ever happened to you during an NFL game? And he knew immediately. He goes, all right. So it's back when the triplets were at Dallas. Aikman, Irving, Smith. He said it's December, Monday Night Football in Philadelphia. It's cold. It's nasty. It's for the division title. I'm like, okay, all right. And he's like, so the game's going along. First quarter's coming to an end. He says, I look down and my shoe's untied. And he's like, look, everybody knows I like to work out. I know how to put a knot in a shoe. I'm like, yes, Ed. We all see your arms. We know you like to work out. So he says, right before halftime, looks down. Shoe's untied again. It's baffling. Like, he doesn't know what's happening. He said he was thinking about actually spatting his shoes so his shoelaces didn't come undone. He said, I finally figured out what it was. He said Dallas had the football. It was a 4th and 1 play. So it was just a big mass of humanity piled up. And he said they went in there to kind of separate people and said he felt something hitting his shoe. It was Emmitt Smith. He had been untying his shoe from the bottom of the pile. He's like, he just looked at him. he just smiled at Ed Hockley because it's him untying his shoe in the middle of this important division race game. And, Georgia Tech inside the 5-yard line to score again with 44 seconds.
What?
Oh.
We need this.
I'm
All right,
here
yeah,
for
because
it.
it's about to go into halftime. Oh my gosh.
I'm here for it. That's awesome. Arizona State, I think they beat Arizona. Arizona, another disappointing team. You thought with Fafita and Big T, they were going to come in and really do well.
Yes.
Arkansas, Missouri, one of these manufactured SEC rivalries, which you and I talked about. I'm very surprised they made Oklahoma and LSU the rivalry weekend game.
Yeah.
I'm for it. Like, I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah, same.
Surprised. But Arkansas, Missouri, Eli Drinkwitz is rapidly becoming my least favorite person in the whole world.
Yeah.
If I could punch-size his face, I would.
Like, when you see him, do you not just want to call him a dweeb?
Well, then, like the other day, he's yelling at Mississippi State, "Stop or I'm going to score."
Yeah.
You're yelling at Josh Heupel running off the field. We stand no business, Josh. Again, I sent a picture to my boys out in Oklahoma of Rick Moranis as the wrong O'Shea side by side to Drinkwitz. It's the same.
It really is.
Freaking same. So I hope Arkansas wins. I like Pittman better than I like Drinkwitz. The old Oak and Bucket, Indiana, Purdue. Tulane really helped Indiana with that loss that they have. I think Indiana,
they really did.
And again, it'll come back to people talking about they lost to Ohio State so bad. What was so weird was I had talked about how Georgia Tech scores again 17-0. And for all those weirdos that bark at kids when you're walking around the hedges, that's what you get. But let's see. He says, "Do you think Drinkwitz is a player for the North Carolina job?" I know he's from that area. I'm hearing Dan Mullen. Because
I've heard more and more of that as well.
Well, there was a lot of talk about Dan Mullen coming to Oklahoma. And then my boy Dusty Dvorak actually asked him, "Hey, there's a lot of talk about you at Oklahoma." And he's like, "Do they have a head coaching position?"
That makes sense.
So another guy that covers the University of Tulsa was up there, and Dan Mullen was on the call for that Tulsa East Carolina game.
Mm-hmm.
And he saw him in the media eating place. And he's like, "Hey, is there anything to this?" And he's like, "No, man." He's like, "I'm still one of the only coaches that have 100 SEC victories. I'm here for a head coaching job."
That makes sense.
And so I'm like, North Carolina could be a place. ACC is kind of open. But, yeah. Tony, did you not hear? Here's the funny thing, Tony. Oklahoma had more Big 12 wins this year than Oklahoma State. I love saying it. Love it. Drinkwitz, yeah. Marshall coach Charles Huff, maybe to Southern Miss.
That'd be a great hire for Southern Miss.
Did you hear the little factoid I put out that there are 4 teams in Division I that are named the Owls?
Okay.
All 4 of them have fired their coach in the middle of the season.
Oh my gosh, yeah. FAU, Kent State,
Rice,
Temple. Yeah. And oh gosh. Wow.
Now Temple's talking about shutting football down. They're talking about shutting it down.
I mean, as much as I hate to hear that, I get it. I mean, at the end of the day, how can you sustain a football team in this climate with the NIL? You can't compete in NIL. I mean, if you're stuck, there's no reason to keep it going if there's not going to be anything happen.
No. The big one down in College Station, used to be a big Thanksgiving Day celebration. The big bonfire before the tragic incident that happened there. But Texas and Texas A&M.
Yeah, fun game.
All the giga whoops, all the whoop boop swaying, and farmer fighting.
Any update on Quinn Ewers?
I haven't heard, but have you ever been to a game at Kyle Field?
I have not been yet.
If you sit up high, it's kind of like kneeling. It's very vertical, And if
Okay.
you're sitting there and they start doing that dun 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 dun, dun, they're doing that
Ah,
swaying, you start to get
yeah.
motion sick. It's like
Oh, I bet.
sitting in
I
the
bet.
press box one year, I was like, this not good. But yeah, uh, Kyle Field is a beast. I love it. I love Kyle Field, the Dixie Chicken right around. You go get some Dixie Chicken. All the girls walking around in the shorts and the boots, we call it howdy meat because they would just walk by and go, howdy, howdy, howdy. The dog Reveille has more rights than you on that campus.
I mean, that's
Do
fair.
not walk on the grass because you will get yelled at by the Corps cadets.
I
Like you
respect
cannot walk
that,
on the
though.
grass.
I respect
It's
that.
bad. But I think Texas is a better team. I think they're a better
I do
team
too.
top to bottom. If Blue and them can stop fumbling the football, I
Yeah.
think they'll be okay. But Texas and hell, so who goes if Texas beats A&M, Georgia loses, who goes?
Um,
I haven't even thought about. I mean, because you've got Texas, Georgia, Tennessee. If Tennessee wins,
Tennessee can't get no. I'm sorry. Georgia's automatically in since Georgia Tech's not
Georgia
SEC.
automatically in.
Yeah, they're already set as the 6-2 team that's in. So they were already lined up. So basically, winner of Texas A&M is in, no matter what. Tennessee is the odd man out. They are in the best position that you could possibly be in right now, unless they lose to Vanderbilt. Then that
If
sucks.
Reveille barks in class is immediately canceled. Yeah, I had a sister who went down there as part of Corps of Cadets, and like I said, Reveille has more rights on that campus than you do.
That's amazing.
And,
That really
but
is.
I wish they could bring back the bonfire. I used to love to see videos of that, and I hate that incident happened with the collapse that year and losing lives of the engineers. But it was always something like, man, that's really cool to kind of see
Oh yeah.
that tradition of it. Oregon, Washington, Washington. I don't think they stand a chance against Oregon. Oregon, really, they've only been tested in 2 games, really, and that was Ohio State and Boise State. But you can't take your foot off the pedal if you're Dylan Gabriel. Kansas State, Iowa State, the Big 12 still up for grabs. BYU's playing Houston. I mean, there's still so many.
I think 7 teams were still in talks to get in it. So
I just scored a ticket to UT Vandy.
Oh,
there you go.
Tennessee wins. It's over.
That is awesome. Good for you, Chris. Now, here's the thing. I hope you get to carry the goalpost down to the river.
That would be amazing.
I hope you get to carry the goalpost, and I want to see pictures. So, all right, I've got to ask, what is your prediction for tomorrow night?
I actually think it's going to be a tight game. I don't see this being a game where one team pulls away from the other. I think it's going to come down to late in the fourth quarter. I don't see either team scoring over 30 points in this game. I think it's going to be an absolute war. And I mean, while there's really nothing big at stake in this, essentially bowl positioning is at stake and who gets the better bowl game. But I mean, realistically, there is a small rivalry that's kind of built inside of this. So I think that both teams want this game. Obviously, I have to take LSU because I'm biased. But I say the winning score is like a 27-24 kind of game. Whoever wins, I think that'll be the score.
Now, is Lacey healthy? Is he okay? Everything good with him?
He's about as healthy as a football player in the last week of the season can be, I guess.
Right.
But no, I've heard he's good to go.
27. I'm intrigued to see what Joe John Finley do with the offense.
Mm-hmm.
And look, hey, I got to tip my hat to Tony because Tony wrote that article at the beginning of the year about Jackson Arnold being a bust.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Mr. Tim Bailey really didn't like hearing that. But again, I'm not going to crown some kid who hadn't been there, and he was put in a bad position. I need LSU to win and keep Oklahoma at the bottom of the pecking order for bowl games. I hope they do, because I'm going to tell you why, Vandy. I hope Oklahoma comes to the Birmingham Bowl. Plain and simple. I hope Oklahoma comes. Right now, there's a couple bowl projections that have Oklahoma. One I saw today was Oklahoma and South Florida. And I'm like, dude, That would be great because I can cover the game. I can
Mhm.
be down on the field, see all my guys, Gabe
Mhm.
Eichert, Teddy Lehman, Chris Plank, all these guys that work for the University of Oklahoma. See my guy Toby, who's the play-by-play guy. Go and see some of the coaches. I mean, like I said, I got to know Brent his first tenure at Oklahoma. I love Brent, and that's why I'm really hoping he's successful. I really am
Mhm.
because I like the guy so much.
Oh, for sure.
But no, and I'm okay with it. I'm just glad. You remember when Bobby Boucher won the Bourbon Bowl? Speaking of bourbon,
There you go.
got some the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah,
I like Elijah Craig. It's one of the
Elijah
smoothest.
Craig's
So smooth.
a lot of good stuff. But man, Cody, I appreciate you coming on today.
For
I
sure.
appreciate you checking up on me when I poured hot fry grease all over my leg.
It looked like
Um,
your leg came off the grill. That's the background video of this thing. I mean, that was
it
insane.
I had a friend of mine said, "Do you have a picture?" And I was like, "You sure you want to see it?" And he said, "Yeah." I sent it to him, and he said, "I immediately regret my decision."
Now, when you asked me if I want to see it, I was like, yes. I don't know why, but pictures like that do not bother me
Oh,
for
my
some
wife
reason.
loved it because she's a nurse and she
Yeah,
loved
exactly.
wound care for her. She's like, "Oh yeah, look at this skin coming." I felt bad. My kid came walking in when she's redressing. He was like, "Ugh."
Oh, I bet.
"Sorry, buddy."
I
But now,
bet.
hey, now it's good. I'm walking around. I mean, there for a while I couldn't walk. Like it
Dang.
was.
Well, I mean, to be fair, I mean, looking at it, that makes sense. But
I'm just glad it didn't splash any higher.
amen to that.
It didn't go above my knees. So
You're good to
again,
go.
could have been a lot worse. Maybe it looks like I have a birthmark forever. I don't know. We'll see how it's continued to heal. Now, like there's no pain. The skin's a little tight, obviously because it's new skin.
Sure.
But I'm fortunate. I didn't have to go get skin grafts. I didn't have to
That's
go,
nice.
anything like that. My wife is very adamant about me being a diabetic and taking care of my sugar, so that
Hmm.
helped the healing.
I gotcha.
But yeah, 13 to 16 SEC are bowl eligible. UK, Auburn, Mississippi State. Yep.
Insanity.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's been a crazy year. It's only going to get crazier with this weekend, with championship weekend, and then with the start of the playoffs. I mean,
Hmm.
who would have thought Alabama out, but you could have Arizona State, Boise State, Indiana, teams like that in the playoffs, but no Alabama.
I know, man. It's
And then if
it's so
Georgia
nice
loses
though.
tonight, and then loses to Texas, no Georgia.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, man, crazy. But
My thing
guys,
is,
that's gonna wrap. Are you
you
guys
know,
doing a show tonight?
I honestly don't know at this point. Maybe
I didn't see. I
we
didn't see
talked
any
about it.
post. I didn't see any post out there about it wasn't in the StreamYard studios and stuff like that. But
Maybe.
well, again, guys, Mondays always check out for the Golden Boot. They come on at 8:30. I usually go up to about 8:15, depending on interaction. And Chris and George and Cody do a great job. They secure some good interviews, funny stuff on there. Really quality show. It shows
Appreciate it.
that they all care about what they do. And again, that's why I love two bus quarterbacks in the SEC: Jackson Arnold, Brock Vandagriff. And you're probably right. I don't.
Jackson has redeemed himself. I'm sorry, but he
A
has.
little bit, but not throwing the football. But here's what's crazy:
His legs
he
weren't
didn't
good.
he didn't throw many interceptions. It was the fumbling and ball security.
Yeah.
That was his problem. But it's crazy. But Tony, appreciate you coming in. Dropping some comments. Vandy, Chris, everybody that stopped by. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. It's always a passion of mine to talk sports, to talk food, and just kind of have a good time. And Cody, I appreciate you coming on, talking the
Absolutely.
game. Good luck tomorrow night. I hope it's a good game
Same.
throughout this year.
Same.
Like I was just like, man, I just want to be competitive. I
Yes.
want to be competitive. I want to come down to the
Absolutely.
last possession. I'm okay with that. And I don't want to go there and get housed.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I
And
don't
I don't
want to
want to
go
see
there and
that
get
happen
bounced.
either, though. I really don't. I want it to be a tight game.
And what's weird is it happened to Alabama and how Jalen Milroe just ran all over and then
Hmm.
couldn't get. Brent Venables put Jalen Milroe in hell in a cell.
Yes, absolutely.
Locked him
That
up.
looked like a Brent Venables defense out there. Like that he would
Georgia
actually
the
call the game
23rd
plan
seed.
for.
Well, Zach Alley is kind of like a protege. I mean, he was a GA
It
under Brent
makes
at
sense.
Clemson, and I've talked to a lot of people in the program that are like, if you're walking by an office and you hear Zach Alley talking, you think it's Brent Venables.
That's
Like
good.
they're so like it'll be interesting to see who becomes the offense coordinator. I think it's a big hire. Here's what's crazy.
Hmm.
I don't know if you heard the press conference this week, and I know I'm trying to wrap up, but the press conference this week, Brent Venables came out and said, "I made the wrong hire about Seth Luttrell." He said
I
that's on
respect
me.
that.
I made the wrong hire, and this offseason is going to be more businesslike because I honestly think
What's
Devin
up,
says,
Devin? What's up,
Cody.
buddy?
I honestly think Brent was trying so hard to rectify the defense because that was the sieve for Oklahoma for the last decade and a half. Terrible
Yeah.
defense. We had offense. I think he's like, you handle this. I'm going to get the defense where it needs to be. And he's got the defense where it needs to be. Here's what's also crazy. I told my wife at halftime of that game, I was like, I am interested to see what this defense does with the lead and the offense. They had no 3 and outs that game. Do you know statistically, the University of Oklahoma's defense has faced more offensive snaps than any team in Division I football?
I did not know that.
Because of here's another crazy stat. Going into that game against Alabama, every turnover in the SEC that Oklahoma had created, interception, fumble, anything, other than the Kip 6 at Auburn, up until that game against Alabama, every turnover was reciprocated within 2 minutes of game time of a turnover from Oklahoma or a missed field goal.
Wow.
Literally within 2 minutes of game time. So yeah, it's crazy. It's been a crazy year. You know,
It has.
I'm excited because, and I know I'll run into you. I can't wait for Oklahoma to come out to the SEC baseball tournament in Hoover. I've tried to tell my guys, y'all better be ready because it's nothing like the Big 12 baseball tournament.
It's
You're
so
going to
good.
have so much fun. And Hoover does a great job. I'm glad it's still there at the Met. I don't want it to go to a bigger stadium because I saw what happened to the Big 12 baseball tournament when it left Oklahoma City and went to Texas.
Yep.
And and Hoover is big enough yet small enough to where it's just awesome.
And they have the best parking you could ask for. So
yeah, I told my guys like, just wait till you see all the RVs when you pull up. It's gonna blow your mind.
Oh yeah,
gonna blow your mind. What are you making tomorrow night for the game? You making anything special?
Yeah, I've been thinking about it, and I think I'm gonna go with just some traditional wings, but I'm not gonna do buffalo wings. I'm actually so at Publix. Have you seen the white barbecue sauce that you can buy in the little cups in the deli?
Absolutely.
Tossing it in that, my friend.
Publix wings are pretty banging too.
They are, but it depends on which Publix you go to, though.
Sure, I agree. Yeah, it's yeah.
Pelham
But like
Publix has gone
the
downhill since everybody transferred out.
yeah. Well, I had
And
a
it
friend of
kills
mine
me.
who transferred out. Yeah, I left that one, but yeah, Publix wings great. Now you need to come up here and try Dave's Hot Chicken that opened
Oh,
up
I
in
have.
Batavia.
Oh,
Oh,
I
did
already
you?
have. Yeah,
All
loved it.
right. What level did you go with?
I was a wimp, man. I'm a wimp. I can't go too high when I eat out. I
No,
can't.
so I'll tell you this. I went mild and medium. I
Mhm.
wanted to build it. I wanted to see. So I got the tender slider. I want to do one
Okay.
of both. So I did the tender with mild, and I did the slider with a medium heat.
Mhm.
Mild was just really well seasoned chicken.
Yes,
Like it was really
absolutely.
good. Really good. I enjoyed that. Medium, there was no heat to it. But I've watched a lot of people say the jump from medium to hot is substantial.
I will make sure to avoid the hot then.
I will tell you, I will never go to Reaper. I'm not going to sign a piece of paper that say, yes, I'm a
No.
dumbass and want to be uncomfortable for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah, I'm good. Mm-mm.
But If you like well-seasoned chicken, mild is really good. And the medium, I promise, it's not hot. It's
Yeah.
not hot at all.
I got you.
Not hot at all. But did you like the New Orleans barbecue shrimp and Gouda grits I sent you?
Dude, that is up my alley right there. That's my kind of eating right there.
My wife said that is the best thing you have ever made. I was
There
like,
you go.
ugh. Like I made sure, like I got the big boy shrimp, I got
Yeah.
the 12, 15, the big boys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh God, it made the grits, not instant grits, made them on the.
My man, that's
It's
what I'm
like
talking about.
Joe Pesci. You mean to tell me that a grit cooks faster on your stove? I cooked the grits, shredded the Gouda, made the grits in chicken stock,
Oh.
not water.
Oh.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, that sounds good
Yeah.
already.
Chicken stock and water. But all right, buddy, I'll let you get out of here, man. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Enjoy your weekend. Have a great holiday season, man. And I just hope it's a very entertaining game.
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll hit each other up during the game.
Oh,
Have a good one.
I'm sure. I'll take it easy, Cody. That's Cody Slavinsky from the Golden Boot Podcast. Check them out, guys. They do a really good job. That's going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate everybody that hopped in. Thank you so much. I love talking sports. I love talking food. I love talking about bourbon. And I love talking to you guys. And it's a passion of mine. Very honored to be doing it. So again, everybody have a great night. Enjoy football this weekend. Start the holiday season. Be patient with workers at retail. Have some patience. As a former retail person, let's have some patience, okay? Let's have some patience. But everybody, have a great night. And remember to always positively move forward.